debating, interviewing. You know that's what they doing. Stick around. It's about to get all Ruby up in here. Remote Ruby starts now.
Good morning.
Happy
December 19th.
Happy December 19th.
Praise be.
How many eves before Christmas is this?
When's
6
Christmas?
eves, 7 eves, 7 eves.
I thought there was only one eve before Christmas.
No. This is Eve, Christmas Eve, blah, blah,
Our
blah.
dog's name's Evie, and I don't.
There you
like
go.
her. So
Right before Christmas. Christmas Eve.
that's what her
Did you
name
get her
means. Right before
Christmas Evie?
Christmas. Jaden named her after the Pokemon, but we didn't spell it that way because we got to remember how to spell it.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say copyright. Yeah. They are suing people out here.
Yeah, Pal World.
Poor Power World.
Shame.
Apparently, you can't make a game where you capture monsters and balls, but that's whatever. Anyway, enough about balls. It's about Christmas balls. Jingle all the way.
I haven't been here in like a month. What have you talked
know.
about?
I missed you.
We don't know what we talk about.
We talked about
Although Andrew listens to the show, so
Yeah.
last week.
It's
We
weird,
talked
bro.
about the Rails guide stuff that Chris released, and we talked about the latest Ruby update.
Chris just got excited about y'all's episode last week.
I had an amazing pun in it that I made specifically for you, and I forgot to cut it out and send it to you. But I will do that.
There's still time. I was thinking about it this morning. It's kind of like a quiet time. It's a year like Ruby wise, it feels like. But maybe I'm just out of the loop.
maybe you're wrong because Ruby always gets released on Christmas Day.
Well, maybe it's just a quiet Christmas Eve.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Just the calm before the storm.
We did talk about the RC1 release notes last week. Aside from a few internal type things, like the stuff that will affect your Ruby code is pretty much nada. You can use the new it clause. You'll get warnings for frozen string literals that are mutated. That's about as much as it will affect your production code, which is like a great thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't want a lot of breaking changes. So that's good. We just kind of get to upgrade and get performance improvements and voila. But, you know, it kind of sucks because like if you want to use it in a library for the block argument, you can't unless you're going to require 3.4 and up. But your application code, it can at least. So
It can at least.
all right, let's hang it up.
All right. Cool.
That's it.
Well, that would be awesome if we actually just edited there. Just put after Paul
3
edits out
minute.
all the silence and ums, it's like,
Yeah.
2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes. Killing it.
There was a 37 signals and release yesterday. I can't remember the name of it, but the Hotwire
Hotwire
reload. Spark, yeah, for effectively
Spark.
live reloading without,
Live reloading.
the whole NP.
Yeah, it's live reloading, but if you've used Hotwire Live Reload or built your own, like I did with ES Build, that just fully refreshes the page. This doesn't do that. This actually morphs the page. So it specifically sees that like your tooltip CSS file changed and then swaps out just that, which is like really smooth for watching the updates and stuff on the page. And it can do the same with stimulus controllers, but at the moment it only works with your import maps. And I don't really know if that's going to be possible with, built JavaScript because of the way that it does it. I can't remember the exact thing on the stimulus side, but it's like able to update your stimulus controller as it is. But if it's a brand new JavaScript build from ES Build or something, like you're going to accidentally maybe execute all the same setup stuff or whatever, which you probably don't want. So not quite sure if that'll ever quite be a thing or whatever. If you are going the no build route, no node, then like this is a great option. But also like if you are, then just use Vite Rails and stuff already has all this and it's the JavaScript way. No node, no customers. That's a good one,
Vite-
Andrew.
Vite is so interesting. It's like what Webpacker could have been, but obviously using Vite, or I'm talking about Vite Ruby here. And a lot of Ruby developers seem to really like it. But
Yeah,
it's
I've
just
heard good
like,
things.
I don't know. It's always that tension of it's not sanctioned by Rails, right?
If you can't do import maps or don't want to for whatever reason, then like
I can't and I don't want to.
Yeah, then that's like the best alternative, I think. ES Build specifically doesn't do everything on purpose. And Vite uses ES Build behind the scenes and Rollup in order to do everything, you know?
And
And it's just kind of the easier option. It's probably more complex for that reason, but like ES Build doesn't support globs and imports like that. It doesn't support like all kinds of different things like hot module reloading and yada yada. Like there's a whole ton of stuff that it doesn't do that it chooses not to do on purpose. But that's where Vite comes in, is like, actually, we will do all that. And it's Mr. Evan Yu. He's pretty good at what he does.
Made by JavaScript God.
Seriously.
Also, trying to stand up inertia with ES Build is doable, but it's tough because it's what in the hell are you doing? It's tough because, yeah, there's no glob support. You have to like go find the right plugin, and then you've got to figure out how does Webpack do globs. You have to deconstruct it to then rebuild it, and like you don't have that problem with Vite. All that kind of stuff just figured out. And yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
I haven't actually checked or whatever, but I know that the ES Build Ruby plugin that I made for glob imports for stimulus and stuff, the Bun developer commented on that when like Bun came out originally and was like, yeah, that's, you know, an issue in Bun that we want to make sure we support. And then I never heard anything back about that. But I can't remember. I assume that Vite and stuff runs fine on Bun these days instead of old Node.js. I don't know. It's kind of wild that investors were like, yeah, let's invest in rebuilding Node, but faster. That would be so weird to have. But I guess you could kind of say that's kind of similar to the other implementations of Ruby, like JRuby and Truffle Ruby and so on. It's just not necessarily a bunch of investors, companies investing their money into doing it, but it's kind of interesting long-term wise. Have you read up on the Inertia 2.0 release? I think that's official now, I believe.
I did not, but I knew the Laravel team is helping a lot with Inertia, but Inertia is now listed as like one of Laravel's packages on their website.
Yeah. I watched the video or whatever and talked to Jonathan Rennick about it. And it seems like they pulled a ton of other good ideas from Hotwire into Inertia to kind of round it out. I mean, that was the whole point of Inertia, is like, let's take the TurboLinks driven JavaScript navigation, like the navigation stuff should not live in the JavaScript. It should live server side and be taken care of there. And I know Evil Martian's pushing Inertia a lot. So I got to get back in to try it at some point, because it's been years and years since I've really done much with Vue or Inertia in general. So it'd be fun to revisit. But I don't really miss writing a lot of JavaScript. What I wish we had was Flux. That's what I want.
Why?
Because then I don't have to deal with all of the accessibility and other things like that he's taking care of in Flux. The components that most people are making are just like components, but don't do the keyboard navigation and accessibility and all those little details on the client side that Caleb's done in Flux UI. And I would love to have that in Rails, but most people don't. They seem to be aiming for design, not accessibility, which like the design stuff doesn't matter.
The mobile like library Flux.
Yeah. Dude.
What? Why do you want it? That's like, why is he bringing up
what
Flux
we really
right
need is jQuery UI.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what I've been hearing about, this mythical old library that used to exist.
It's not old.
seen
It still exists.
Yeah, it still exists.
Still use it every day.
Oh.
Dude, jQuery UI is the
People
OG.
still use COBOL, okay?
I didn't know y'all were still using jQuery UI. COBOL UI.
We use it to track our
Fortran
dinosaurs.
77 UI.
Yeah, I'm excited for Hotwire Spark though. Like it's a cool
Yeah.
bringing us back on topic. But Hotwire Spark is a cool thing and something that people have been missing since Hotwire dropped.
What is it for people of us who have things that they do?
It reloads the page, but morphs stuff instead of fully refreshing the page, which you lose your scroll state, you lose all kinds of context. Like Jorge showed a search box that opens as a dialogue, and he just updates the stimulus controller and can reopen the search dialogue modally or non-modally as he like tweaks it. So it's pretty cool. And it just piggybacks off Action Cable and stuff in order to broadcast those and monitors the file changes, sends it over Action Cable, and then the JavaScript takes the rest there. So yeah, it's brand new. So I'm sure there's lots of quirks and everything for that. I made a pull request pretty much immediately and was like, well, we should probably detect the builds folder for Tailwind or CSS bundling and stuff, and then just have that automatically wired up if it exists. And it's like a little tricky because if you have it, normally it's looking at the assets folder for style sheets. And it's like, we need to make those mutually exclusive because the source in there will be built by Tailwind and you only care about the builds folder instead of, you might trigger extra, you update one CSS file, Tailwind monitors it, builds the new build of it. And that's really the only thing you want to trigger an update on, not the original source change. So it has to be kind of exclusive watch folders there. But yep, that's pretty much all it does as far as I can tell. It just monitors your HTML, your CSS, and your JavaScript, or your import maps, I should say, at the moment, which is good. But you may still need Hotwire Live Reload, or honestly just use Vite if you are already doing Node in your applications and not import maps.
So that thing that we were talking about earlier. So okay, so now I'm caught up.
Now we're spiraling.
I guess I didn't hear the name earlier, so that's a new thing coming to Hotwire.
Okay. So you've learned two things today.
I have learned two things today.
Why don't you tell us about the first thing you learned?
I'm not going to, but it's 8 a.m. and I could learn a lot more things.
It's 9 a.m.
Well, it's 5 a.m. somewhere.
That's true.
Until now, observability was metrics, logs, and traces. It was reliability budgets, error rates, and latencies. It was big acronyms on a central dashboard. In short, it was what the ops team cared about, not the developers. But Honeybadger is changing that. Of course, you need the big picture, the single pane of glass that lets you know what your system is doing and that it's operating normally. But individual users matter too. User experience is more than just a line on a dashboard. Honeybadger's observability platform lets you drill down into the details, into the individual user experiences that drive product development and your business forward. It helps you understand your product and your users as much as it does your systems and performance. Honeybadger's free developer plan includes error tracking, uptime monitoring, custom charts and dashboards, and 50 megabytes per day of structured event logging. To get started, visit honeybadger.io. That's www.honeybadger.io.
Dude, it's almost Christmas break. Like, I'm basically done. I'm basically checked out already because Jason left me already. So now I just have no motivation.
7 eves ahead, so
Chris,
the
what's
number
your
of eves is what determines the break, Christmas break.
It should.
7 eves.
Chris, what's your Christmas tradition?
Oh, I don't know.
You crack open your laptop to read the new Ruby release, and then you make a Rails video.
Oh, God. Yeah. That did happen when Christmas Eve was when Hotwire dropped.
Yeah,
I was like, crap. Yeah, I'll probably have to go compile the new version of Ruby for Hatchbox users and stuff, but that's about it. Nothing work related other than that, which is good. I don't necessarily do it the same day either. Most people are not. I mean, you can SSH into your server and install it if you want. If I haven't done it for you yet, that's not a big deal. Or actually, it might even do it itself automatically. I think I updated Hatchbox. So if we didn't have a pre-compiled version or something, it would try to compile it itself. Something like that. I'll have to go check. But no, I'm just ready to take a few days off. It's been a long last few weeks, Black Friday and all that. Just, it's been exhausting wrapping up the year.
I bet Christmas is exhausting at Jason's house.
Yeah, it's exhausting. And Shannon had surgery last Wednesday, and it's a 6-week recovery. I've been like full-time everything. So yeah, they gave us 2 extra days for Christmas and that at work, and that left me 2 extra vacation days. And so I was like, see ya.
Nice. You just need a full extra sabbatical though.
Dude, I get one of those next year. I didn't know that. I was like, all right, I'll see y'all in February.
Yeah, I've been working on a project for 9 months now. It has like 3
is
more
the baby
months.
here?
Yeah. It has like 3 more months, the world's longest pregnancy. And the person working on the project with me, Mario, is literally taking his sabbatical the last 2 weeks before the project launches. And so he'll get to come back.
So
and
smart.
it's awesome. He'll get to
Like,
come back and it'll just be like
any issues in production, not my problem.
not his problem. I mean, to be fair, we thought the project was going to be done now.
I do have an important disclaimer. You were wrong. The longest recorded pregnancy in medical history is 375 days. So I learned 3 things today.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a bad time.
Well, since I don't have any Ruby things to talk about, Andrew, why don't you tell us of all the 100 items on your bed next to you, why don't you tell us what each one is?
So I got a new monitor on Black Friday, and
What'd you get?
I got I think it's a Dell. Hold on, I'll pull it up on Amazon.
Oh, is it one of their 4K ones?
Roland.
Yes. Here's the
Yeah.
problem. The problem was I used to do 2 ultra wide monitors, like one vertical, one horizontal, and then one of them busted. And then I replaced it with a new LG monitor, and it was LG Ultrafine. And then I had a real problem because the LG Ultrafine was like a 4K monitor, and then next to the other monitor I had, the ultra wide, it was like I can't do this now because
Was
now
that a
one
2K or 1080p or
yeah, whatever it was. It was like a 1080p or whatever. So I was like, I can't work like this. So then I bought another LG Ultrafine Ergo, and then I had 2 of them, and it was good. But the problem is that they were both 27 inches, and 27 inches just wasn't big enough, and I needed something bigger. So I wanted to get something. Yeah, I did. So I got a Samsung 32-inch Odyssey Neo G8 4K UHD.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, say that 5 times fast.
All right. Samsung 32-inch Odyssey Neo. I can't. But
I think I looked at that one recently.
Yeah, it was on sale, and I tried to get one a few months ago, and the quality just wasn't good enough, and the curve was weird. But I did some researching on Black Friday, and I found this one, and it was cheap. So far, I love it. The problem was that the base was way too big. So that's the disaster you see on my bed, because I had a monitor arm set under my bed, but I couldn't find all the pieces for it. And also on the bed is the Ergo dock stand and the monitor, and then the pieces for the base, because then I got a new stand so that I could have it swing and be all nice and pretty. So yeah, that's what's going on over here.
Oh, that's fun.
So far, so good. I like the quality matches perfectly. And that was the biggest issue I had with ones I tried since, is that they weren't, like the picture quality just wasn't good enough to match this LG Ergo Ultrafine.
When I got rid of the iMac as my main machine and moved to my MacBook Pro, I was like, I need to replace my iMac monitor, but there's nothing.
Oh, you finally got rid of the iMac?
It's still over here, but I guess you can use it as just an external display still, which kind of would work. If I'm going to my MacBook and I'm going to dock it, I honestly didn't really want to dock because they're like $400 or $500 for a good dock. And the old Dell monitor that I had 2 of them on the sides that were vertical, and they had like a built-in USB hub and everything. but they were like from 2015, so they were pretty old. So I was looking at monitors, like Thunderbolt monitors, and trying to find anything that was like, these will eventually probably be my side monitors for, I'll probably end up with the Apple Studio display or something at some point. But whenever the new M4 Ultra Mac Studio comes out next year, I'm going to grab that. Sounds like there's rumors that they might come out with the updated Studio display, because I think LG is also going to release a new monitor in the first quarter, which would be the same panel probably as if it's like the last iteration of the Studio display. But that's like Thunderbolt 3, 5K. You can't daisy chain them. And if I'm going to plug stuff into my MacBook, I didn't want to have all three of my Thunderbolt or USB-C ports on there wired up. And that just makes it not a laptop and not easy to use anymore.
You got to get the connector. You connect it to a box that you connect all your USB cables in, and that only costs like $300 to $500.
Exactly. Like I didn't want one of those stupid docks, but there's not a lot of options. And for whatever reason, I ended up looking through everything, and it was like, I guess I'm just going to have to buy the damn Apple Studio display, even though I don't want to spend $1,500 on it. But I ended up buying these of all brands. I went through like LG, Samsung. Dell doesn't do Thunderbolt really. Most of them are like the DisplayPort over USB-C, so you can't daisy chain them. I ended up on these two HP monitors that are Thunderbolt 4. You can daisy chain them. They have Ethernet ports in the back. They got USB-C, USB-A, all kinds of stuff. I bought two of them to replace the 9-year-old Dells that I had before, and I was like, these are pretty great. And I really only need them like long-term as vertical monitors on the sides. So they don't need to be like, ideally I'd get a 5K because that's really what macOS is best at rendering for my main display. But eventually I'll upgrade that or whatever. But I was like, HP. There's 0 reviews for these monitors. No one has reviewed them on YouTube. You can't find hardly anything about them. And they were on sale for Black Friday or something, like $200 off. And I was like, well, screw it. I guess I'll upgrade. And I've been really happy with them. I'm like, might have to post a review because literally nobody else has. And it's like the only reasonably affordable like Thunderbolt 4 4K monitors. It's wild.
Nice. I'm so upset that Mac won't, unless you get the M4, you can't do 3 monitors, dude. I could have my 2 ergos on the side and my one in the middle, and life would be so much nicer. And I can't have that.
That's what I want to do.
The world is terrible.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to do because I had a whole bunch of stuff plugged into the back of the iMac and then other stuff plugged into the USB hubs on the other monitors. And I was like, if I'm going to switch to my MacBook, I have 3 USB-C ports. That's it. There's no connectivity. And I've got my microphone, audio interface, webcam, yada, yada, like a whole bunch of stuff. And at least the Mac Studio will have enough ports for it, but still, it's a pain. But if you can daisy chain your monitors and do that, then it is way better. But right now you have to buy a dock and then it installs like a better display or something like that. There's a fake graphics card that it ends up doing in order to like support multiple monitors. And I was like, I can do that, but I'd rather just get some monitors and wait for Thunderbolt 5, which...
Yeah, I saw that.
What was it? It can daisy chain like 3 6K displays or something stupid.
Yeah.
It's insane.
The problem with those fake drivers to like try to get 3 monitors working is like you take a humongous hit in quality and you're going to like be taking a performance hit because your computer is going to be like trying to like sit it out.
Yeah, I definitely didn't want to do that. I'll have to add a link to these HP monitors. They're pretty darn good. I was very surprised at HP of all places. They're even cheaper now. That's
really
$424. They got some reviews finally. The only thing that I wish they were was a little higher than 60 hertz.
What do you need more than 60 hertz for, Chris?
Do you not type that fast where you need to see it in 60 hertz? You're like coding.
He's typing so fast that
it's
like
just
a video
blur?
game would not move faster.
It's literally a blur. I'm typing that fast.
You got that VS Code plugin where it like explodes on your screen when you type?
Yeah, that's called Copilot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love it when Copilot explodes on my screen.
Well, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can dock it right here.
Let's containerize this.
Yeah. That's what I meant. All right. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy New Year's.
Happy New
And-
Ruby.
Happy New Ruby. Happy.